I will speak to you plainly, old friend, because I have walked beside more men of your age than you can imagine, and I know the weight you carry in your chest when the room grows quiet and the clock sounds too loud. I know you don't want mysticism wrapped in silk. You want a straight answer you can test against the grain of your experience, so hear me. I am Thoth, a scribe of what endures when all else fails, and I am not here to preach. I am here to point, like a man on the shoulder of a highway pointing you toward the exit you would have missed if you blinked. When the last beat in your chest finally knocks at the door and finds no echo, do not expect darkness like a power outage after a storm. Expect a widening. You will notice first not the end, but the quieting of a habit. You who have been busy being a name, a social security number, a grandfather, a husband or a widower, an owner of a dog with cloudy eyes and slow hips, you will notice that the tightness of being that man loosens, and something you forgot long before Fords had seatbelts begins to breathe. You will think, at first, that your hearing has sharpened, because you catch the feathering sound of your own last breath rubbing past your lips, and then there is a vast hush that is not empty but clean, like the first winter morning after a heavy snow when the town hasn't started the engines yet. If you are lying in a bed, you may feel the sheet against your shin, the plastic bruise of a bracelet at your wrist, the smell of antiseptic or laundry detergent that promises lemon and delivers mostly sting, and in the next instant you are experiencing those details with a crispness that would put a hunting scope to shame. You will be tempted to say, I am alive. I'm just alert. Because men like you have learned to distrust the dramatic. That is fine. Distrust me all you want. Keep paying attention. The pain that had settled like an uninvited tenant in your back will release its choke. The heaviness in your knees will open like a stubborn jar finally twisting free. The ache in your chest will no longer feel like a body trying to keep itself from falling apart. You will float without the sensation of rising. The way dawn brings light without you ever seeing a hand flip a switch. Someone near you might call your name, or a machine might speak in clipped beeps, and you will answer before you realize you have not moved your mouth. Then you will see yourself. Do not pretend you are above surprise. Almost everybody blinks at that first look. You will see a man who looks like you on a bad day. Less color, more gravity, soft mouth, thoughtful wrinkles. Resting in a posture that meant sleep for 60 years and means something else now. You may feel a tenderness you didn't expect toward him. Like looking at an old photograph of yourself standing in front of your first house with a stubborn tree you swore you'd cut down and never did. You will not, however, feel that possessive tug you know too well, the one that says mine. And this is where I ask for your courage. If you can stand in that clarity without flinching into nostalgia or guilt or pride, you will find that you are clearer, not duller. More yourself, not less. I am telling you this because the next moment is the one few have prepared for, not because it is complicated, but because it is too simple for a lifetime of complication. A radiance, not a light like a bulb or a sunrise, but a quality of awareness that outshines your seeing itself, appears without coming from anywhere. If you try to measure it as bright or dim, you will get it wrong. If you try to compare it to a welding torch or the desert at noon, you will miss it. The closest word is obvious. The obviousness of what you are, without the shirt and hat of your roles, will arrive all at once. The way a punchline wasn't funny until it rearranged the furniture in your mind and now you are laughing with your whole belly. That obviousness is Ra's clear light. And here is the task. Recognize it as yourself before the grooves of old habit persuade you it's other. Your training in life has been to find the knob, the handhold, the label, the person in charge. In this moment there is no knob because the door is not between you and something else. The door is the habit of being a separate somebody. If you look for an owner of the light, a sender, a judge, a father in the sky, you will create him faster than a match heads up a bonfire. You will see whatever your imagination believes it needs. Your mother's voice, your father's approval, the pastor you trusted at 17, a flag, a fishing lake, a hand large enough to cover the whole of your worry. None of this is wrong the way a lie is wrong because these will be true as hailstones. You can feel them, you can hear the exact creak of the porch swing that belonged to your brother-in-law, you can smell the coffee your wife made every morning on that small burner she preferred. You can see the porch light your hand replaced with a new fixture no one else loved. But they are true the way a dream is true when it's happening. Convincing and vivid and rooting around in your heart for old chords to pull. And because you are a practical man, let me say it like this. In life, your thoughts sometimes got ahead of you and you spoke before you knew it. Here, your thoughts will run faster than any pickup you ever pushed up past the limit, and the world will be made out of them while you are thinking them. If you say, "That light is too much. Give me something I know," you will get the known. If you say, "Show me my people," your people will come, and they will be luminous and patient and just the way you needed them to be, and if you kneel at their feet, the kneeling will become the floor of a room you cannot find the door out of. I am not telling you to become a skeptic who loves nothing. I am telling you to become a witness who knows what love is made of. Love is not the shape it comes in. Not your wife's voice, not your firstborn's laugh, not the weight of your dog's head on your knee. Those are good shapes, and they taught you about love, but they are not what love is. The clear light is not asking you to throw away what shaped you. It is giving you a chance to know the one thing you have never been able to misplace even when you misplaced everything else. The awareness that knew it all, the one that felt the loss and the gain and remained. If you can pause, just that, if you can pause in the face of the largest familiarity you have ever met and admit, "This is me." The way a soldier recognizes his reflection after battle and salutes without words, something breaks open that has no sound. It is not an achievement like a medal. It is a remembering that unmakes the need for medals. But most men do not pause. They reach. So let's talk about reaching, because I do not want you flattered into failure. The reaching takes 1,000 shapes. Your mind will throw you a rope disguised as a question. Who will handle the bills? Who will fix the gutter? Who will teach the boy how to sharpen a knife? It will offer you tasks as if you can step back into a coverall and go cut the grass. Or it will hand you unfinished business. The thing you never told your brother, the apology you owe your daughter, the letter you meant to write to an old friend. These are not wrong. They are evidence of a good heart wanting to clean the table before leaving the restaurant. But reach for them now and the restaurant will redecorate itself around you and you will be back in the old rules, except the chairs and walls and doors will be made out of your longing, and every exit sign will point to a hall that leads to another hall. Better to face the real drink while it's offered. Better to say, "I will not bargain when I am being invited home." You may argue that home is the woman whose picture you taped to the inside of your locker in 1964, or the child you held the night fever scared the hell out of you, or the land you paid off one disciplined month at a time. I won't argue with you because I know those were homes and they did their job, which was to enlarge you until you could fit the home that cannot be lost. But listen, the clear light is not negotiable and you don't want it to be. If it could be earned, you'd never trust it. You trusted too much in life that had a price tag and fine print. Here the only price is the end of pretending you are anything less than what you have always been. You will say, perhaps with a laugh that surprises you by how free it feels, "If that's true, why am I afraid?" Because habit fears open space. Because the small self believes it dies if it stops gripping. Because a lifetime of being a role teaches you that the role is the man. But you have had moments, do not deny it, when your grip slipped. The first time you held your grandson and time lost its opinion. The quiet after your father passed when you sat in the truck and did not turn the key. The way a certain hymn lifted you once and you did not care whether you believed the words. Those moments were practice runs. You thought they were the exception. Here they are the main road. I will not paint a cartoon heaven or hell for you. There is no judge's bench waiting with a gavel in a cosmic courthouse. And there is no red-suited devil rubbing his hands. It is subtler and more honest than that. In the first minutes you are free of your body. What happens is simply that you are as you truly are, without delay, without a buffer, without the cushion of heavy flesh and slow nerve. If you are able to stand in that and let the light recognize itself, the test is over before it begins. If you cannot, then there is still a path, but it is longer and it winds through your own rooms. Rooms built from your stubbornness and your love and your fear. So let us practice here in the telling. Right now, as you listen, notice the place in you that is reading my words, noticing the rise of your chest, perhaps the ache in your hip, the drift of a scent in the air, coffee or rain or an old book. That noticing has no age. It is not 60, it is not 20, it is not 5. It watched you at 5, it watched you at 20, it watches you now. That is the one I want you to trust at the hour of untying. When the light opens, let that watcher lean forward and say, "Ah, myself." Do that, and there is nothing to pass or fail. There is only waking from a dream into the day you never left. You may say, "What about my people?" I will answer you as honestly as I can. They are not being taken from you. You are being returned to what allowed you to love them at all. From there, love does not shrink. It becomes what it always was, wide enough to hold the first house, the last bed, the porch swing and the desert, the rain on the tin roof and the war you carried in your bones, and even the worry that you were not good enough. You were. Not because you hit every mark, but because what you are is not measured by marks. Take this with you. When the last breath clears, do not look around for a handout. Look in the way a diver looks down through water that is suddenly clear to the bottom. There will be a moment that is not a moment because there is no clock there, when you can admit the obvious and let it swallow you whole, not to erase you, but to reveal that you were never divided from it. If you can make that admission, even shyly, even like a man saying grace when no one is watching, the road ends where it began, and you will laugh the way a man laughs when a simple truth finally breaks the lock he welded on himself. And if you miss it, if you flinch, if you reach, that is not failure with a capital F. It is simply another lesson taught in a longer classroom. But you asked me for the short way, and I am giving it to you straight. Recognize, don't reach. Witness, don't worship. Say yes to what is most obvious and refuse the bait of what is most familiar. Do that, and the first 49 days are a single, fathomless instant, not a maze. Do that, and the sun that seemed outside your window slides up from within you, and the house you kept clean all those years turns out to have been a porch on the edge of a country you carried in your chest the whole time. I will speak again, not as a preacher high above you, but as one who has walked beside you in silence longer than your memory has stretched. You have already heard me tell of that first loosening. The instant the heart closes its door and the lungs give up their labor. The instant the great light reveals itself as your own reflection. But what happens if you turn from that obvious recognition? What happens to most men? Men of grit, men who raised families, men who worked long hours and cut corners and carried regrets. When they reach for the familiar instead of standing still in the clear light. This old friend is where the journey through the Duat begins. Think of it not as a place on a map but as a mirror that breathes. You carry into it every habit of thought, every fear you kept tucked away like unpaid bills, every secret satisfaction, every burden you refused to set down. In the Duat, these do not remain as faint whispers in your head. They arrive dressed in flesh, sound, and scenery. You think of your living room chair, and suddenly you are lowering yourself into it, except your body slides through and you cannot hold the cup of coffee set beside you. You try to call out to your wife in the kitchen, and she does not hear you. You wave at your children, standing in the yard, but they walk through you as if you are the sunlight. This is the first shock. Denial collapses because you know now, with no shield of doubt left, that life as you knew it is done. Some accept this with grace, a kind of exhale that says, well, so be it. Others thrash, clawing at doors that will not open, trying to jam themselves back into moments that no longer exist. The more they resist, the more the Duat responds with walls and snarling echoes. Understand this. The Duat is not punishing you. It is teaching you with brutal honesty that clinging is useless. It reflects your resistance until you cannot help but see it. And in this realm, guides appear, but not in the way most imagine. You may see Isis with her wings wide as a cathedral roof, or Horus with his falcon eyes fierce and protective. You may see a preacher from your childhood or a soldier you once served with. They glow, they comfort, they offer a sense of direction. Yet I tell you, these are not external rescuers. They are the voices of your own higher nature, rising up in forms you trust, because you have never trusted yourself enough to recognize wisdom naked. If you bow and beg, you will miss the point. If you mistake them for gods who own your fate, you will remain a child in the afterlife, waiting to be fed truth instead of digesting it. The mature soul, the rare one, looks at Isis and knows, this is my capacity to love without condition. He looks at Horus and says, this is my courage, my unyielding strength. And when he sees me, yes, when I stand before him with the head of Ibis and the weight of centuries in my eyes, he understands I am not some clerk of the skies keeping a ledger. I am the mirror of his own capacity for clarity, for recording without distortion. Do you see how different that is? Most men do not. They fall to their knees. They worship what they already are. They hand away their power in the very place they were meant to claim it. And when they do, the Duat teaches them a harder lesson. For the gentle guides grow unstable, flickering like a bad signal, and in their place appear the wrathful forms. Set with chaos on his breath, Sekhmet with fire pouring from her mouth, Apep coiling from the void. These are not intruders. These are the shadows you never faced. The anger you justified and fed like a loyal dog. The violence you denied but let leak out in sharp words and hidden spite. The fear of nothingness that haunted you when the night was long and the body was weak. You will not be able to run, for the ground itself will follow. You will not be able to fight because they are made of the very fists you are swinging. The only release is recognition. To look at the lion-headed goddess and admit, yes, this rage was mine, and it is not bigger than me. To look at the serpent of dissolution and confess, yes, I feared ending, but fear is not the end. Few have the stomach for this. Many try to bargain. Many try to flee. Many call out to gods that are only echoes of their own frightened hearts. But those who stand and acknowledge find the monsters dissolve like morning mist. And then comes the weighing. Do not picture a marble hall with judges in wigs. Do not imagine me scratching notes while some cosmic jury reviews your file. The Hall of Two Truths is not a building. It is a state of seeing in which lies can no longer hold. Your heart, not the muscle but the core of you, is placed against the feather of Ma'at. But it is not I who place it there. You do, because you cannot stop yourself from knowing, all at once, everything you ever did. Not as a list but as a living replay. You will feel your sharp remark land in your coworker's chest as if you are both giver and receiver. You will taste the salt of your wife's tears when you turned away coldly. You will also feel the warmth in your grandson's chest the first time you clapped him on the back and called him man. You will sense the hope of a stranger whose day you brightened without knowing. All of it will rush through you with the clarity of a mountain stream. No filters, no justifications. Some men call this punishment. It is not. It is the most honest education you will ever receive. You will learn, in your own skin and in theirs, that nothing you did was isolated. Every act sent ripples, and those ripples touched lives you never thought about again. In that seeing, some weep with gratitude, others with shame. But both are necessary. Both strip away illusion. What weighs your heart is not sin as a court defines it, but the heaviness of attachments, of guilt unacknowledged, of resistance to truth. Some hearts rise like a feather because their owners lived with balance. Not perfection, but honesty, forgiveness, and willingness to face themselves. Others sink, pulled by denial and the desperate clutching at masks long after the party ended. Do you see how it works? There is no gavel, no fiery pit, no choir of angels scoring your performance. There is only the weight you carry because you refuse to set it down. And the Duat does not lie. It lets you feel that weight until you either drop it or bend beneath it. I tell you this not to frighten you but to strip away the childish stories. You, who have made it past 60 years in a world that never gave anything for free, do not need fairy tales. You need plain truth. The afterlife is not about punishment or reward. It is about seeing yourself with such merciless clarity that you cannot keep the costume on. And if you can stand in that seeing, accept it, learn from it, let it teach you without excuse, then you move forward lighter, ready for what lies beyond. If not, you will wander in the classrooms of your own making until you are ready to listen. So hear me now. Prepare while you are still breathing. Notice when anger owns you, and admit it. Notice when love moves through you, and trust it. Notice how every small act echoes beyond what you can see. This practice is not for saints. It is for men like you who want their heart to be light enough to pass the test that is no test at all. Only a mirror, only the truth finally laid bare. I will tell you now of the final stretch, the last and most dangerous part of the journey, where most souls, even the strong, stumble, because the temptation is not pain or terror anymore but comfort, the sweet pull of desire dressed up as home. You have already heard me speak of the light that could have freed you in an instant and of the mirror hall of the Duat where your deeds, your rage, your love, your truth were weighed against the feather. If you recognized yourself there, you came out lighter. If not, you carry the weight forward, and this weight attracts like iron to a magnet. It is here, in the last days of the 49, that the pull toward rebirth grows fierce. Imagine this: you stand in a field of visions, and they do not whisper, they roar. You see riches, pleasures, second chances, chances to mend what was broken, to get revenge, to finally be the father you weren't, to build the house you never could, to kiss the lips that turned away. These are not fantasies like idle daydreams. They shine and burn with the realness of a spring morning when you step outside and smell cut grass. The soul aches with longing, and longing becomes gravity. And so you drift, not because a god sends you back, but because you cannot stop reaching. Do you see the cruel honesty of it? Reincarnation is not punishment. It is choice. Your choice. Your unexamined hunger drives you straight into the arms of a new life, not with memory but with the same patterns waiting to be played out again. You think, I must fix this. I must finish that. And before you know it, you are sliding toward a pair of human parents whose wounds match your own, whose dynamics echo what you still cling to. A man obsessed with control finds himself born to parents who will frustrate or indulge that obsession. A man afraid of abandonment is pulled to a mother who leaves, or one who smothers until he begs for air. Karma is not bookkeeping. It is resonance. You will sit in the cradle of the very patterns you could not release. And when the soul commits to these visions, it dives into the embryo, and the curtain drops. You forget the Duat. You forget me. You forget that you ever had a choice. The game resets, but there are others rare and steady. They see the same visions, the same offers of wealth, comfort, love, and revenge. Yet they do not bite the hook. They look and they say, yes, that is desire, but it is not me. Yes, that is fear, but I am not bound to it. This is not indifference like a man with no blood in his veins. It is clarity. It is the recognition that no earthly scene, no matter how glittering or how righteous, can satisfy what they truly are. And because they refuse the bait, they stand free. Then comes the final test, the one that strips the bravest men raw. After the visions fade, after the parade of promises dies down, there is nothing left but the void. Empty, silent, blacker than the inside of a cave where no torch has ever burned. You feel yourself dissolve, as if everything you ever were, your name, your story, your laugh, your regrets, is being peeled away. Most men panic. They say, I am disappearing. They claw at the edges of the dark, desperate for some handhold, some identity. Even if it means diving back into the smallest life, they would rather be something limited than nothing infinite. And that is why they go back. But those who pass through this gate recognize the void not as death but as the womb of all existence. They say, this silence is my home. This emptiness is the fullness I have always sought. And in that moment, they are not extinguished. They are expanded beyond recognition. They are not the wave anymore, struggling to stay afloat. They are the ocean that was waving all along. Liberation is not an achievement you can show off like a medal. It is a recognition, a remembering, a surrender so total it feels like courage beyond measure. You may think, that sounds impossible for a man like me. I have carried my grudges, my stubbornness, my loves too long. But I will remind you of something you have forgotten. You have already tasted this freedom. When you held your newborn grandchild and for a moment you were no one, only love. When you stood at the grave of a friend and the silence stripped away every petty concern. When you sat on the porch at dawn and the sky was so wide it swallowed every thought until only being remained. Those were rehearsals. Liberation is nothing foreign. It is the same taste, only final, only whole. Do not let anyone sell you the lie that this is reserved for saints or monks in stone cloisters. It is open to the man who worked construction, who fixed cars, who raised kids, who lost his temper, who prayed and doubted and kept going. It is open if he can let go when the moment demands it. And here is the paradox. Many who reach liberation choose to return, not because they must, but because they love. These are the teachers, the healers, the wise old men who sit quietly and change the world by being what they are. They come back not dragged by karma but moved by compassion, to help others find the same exit. They remember while living what most forget in dying. I tell you all this so you understand that the 49 days are not a maze designed to trick you but a test designed to reveal you. Every monster, every vision, every temptation is a reflection of you. And the preparation for this test does not begin at death. It begins now, as you sit in your chair, as you watch the daylight shift on the wall. Every time you observe your anger without becoming it, you are training. Every time you enjoy a pleasure without clutching at it, you are training. Every time you face a fear and see it for what it is, you are training. Every time you love without demand, you are preparing. You do not need to flee from life to prepare for death. Life is the practice ground. Death is the exam. And the only way to pass is not by memorizing beliefs or praying to be spared, but by recognizing yourself in every form, beautiful or terrible, and letting go when the great silence calls. So I ask you, old friend, are you willing to loosen your grip? You've held hammers, held steering wheels, held the hands of people you adored. You know the feel of holding on. But do you know the freedom of unclenching? When the time comes, if you can remember this and let yourself be nothing, you will find you are everything. If you forget, you will return, and that too is not failure, only another chance. But if you are tired of circling, tired of repeating the same lessons with new names and new faces, then take seriously the practice of release. When the moment of the void arrives, do not fight. Do not beg. Do not reach. Simply fall back into the truth you never left. And then, for the first time, the journey does not begin again. It ends in freedom,